What's up, y'all? We are back in 2024. Guess what? We're breaking down a commitment graphic. I made this one last year. It's fairly simple, so it should be easy to follow along. I already have all the athletes cut out. Let's just show you what I did. So I have them obviously already organized where we have like the smaller and then bigger and then the biggest cut out. Different uniforms, same player. He just was able to wear different uniforms in his photo shoot, which is sick. So I decided to go with that like light versus dark theme, and I found that crescent shape, and so I just put that behind the two front ones that are the white uniform. And then I decided to paint the other, or the full side on the right side, that white, and that's just using like a brush with a white fill. We have that colored in, and then I decided to like put his back cut out in the black uniform behind it, except for his head, and made that in front of it, so you can just do that using a layer mask like I just did. And then we have the same text I've been using on a lot of commitment graphics. Let me know if you guys might want to buy this. I might just make it available for purchase, just that text, sometime soon, because it seems like a lot of people would be interested in that. So I used that that same text, made it white, and then I'm going in and putting a selective color to change the kind of gold bronze around the edges of it. And then I'm using a gradient shadow to kind of slowly like have his back cut out gradient out down at the bottom, also so you don't see his belly button because it's annoying. And then I found this picture of the world. I set it to screen, and then I just transformed it and shaped it. Well, I guess I used warp. I transformed it and I used warp and shaped it perfectly to that cut out from the dark to the light. So then it makes it look like that's the world behind him. It like fits that, space theme, because they're like, they have a night theme and they have a space theme. Well, like a knight in shining armor theme, not day versus night theme. Nights and space theme. So I went more with the space stuff on this one. There's not much night stuff other than just like his back uniform is obviously night themed. So now I just put a glow on him and then made it into a layer. If you right click, you can do like create layers and put that bronze glow on him from the right where you see the world picture kind of like glowing onto them. They did that same thing with the other two cutouts where it needed to be, so it really looks like they're standing there. This is what I mean when I say like blend the images, like make them look like they're actually there, like put the light on them that's in the background, stuff like that. Blend their looks together, make sure like their skin tones are like kind of matching, the lighting on the uniforms is kind of matching. So then we found these like sort of bullet hole cutouts, except I'm using them as stars. That's like my, the reason I brought them in here. And I had them blue with a gradient at first, and it looks pretty cool. And here I'm just trying to like organize them, but I ended up turning them black because I think it just makes more sense for kind of like what I'm going for. Since I'm going space themed, I'm trying to make them look like stars, and they look a little bit more like stars right there. With that theme, obviously, I'm not really sure what they were intended to be. They definitely kind of look like bullet holes, but that's not what I was using them for. And then I just put the ellipses under their feet, at least on the white. And I think that worked pretty well for this. Sometimes it works really well and looks good, and sometimes you might want to go with like a different strategy, just depending on how quickly you want to get the foot shadows done and how like well you want to do it and where the lighting is coming from. I think on this one that worked pretty well. And then I just added a little bit of shading to the bottoms of their feet, and then I added drop shadows to each of them just to make them pop off the page a little bit. That's also just like a creative decision. You don't always have to do that, but I like to, usually I'll say, because it just kind of separates them from each other and from the background a little bit. And then I did a lot of text experimenting, and you can go on like Google and just like find fonts, like, and try and make sure if you're selling the graphics or whatever, try and make sure they are like copyright free, like available for use, for commercial use. So most of my fonts, I'm pretty sure they are. I may have gotten some a long time ago that I didn't check that, but anyway, most of them I think are. But anyway, yeah, you can find a ton of fonts on Google. I think I have like maybe a link or two on my Patreon as far as where I find fonts from. So it's not hard at all. People are always asking me where you find fonts. Literally, there's so many websites where you can just find like so many different and cool fonts. So anyway, found like 2 space themed fonts. This is kind of from when I was doing Air Force and Space Force stuff. I found some of these fonts and I used the more bold font for his last name, even though it's like a little bit less clear. It's kind of a weird font, but still, I think it works. And then the smaller, more fine font I used for his first name. And then I like put it sort of halfway into this circle on the right. Basically just made a duplicate of each of the names and made one black, one white to like swap it as it changes from background to background. And then here I'm just putting a color lookup over top of the whole thing. I have 2 of them actually. So a lot of times if you're like finishing up a graphic and you're like, this needs to kind of like pop a little bit more, or this needs to look, a little more unified, try a color lookup, like go through all of them. Just see if it does anything. Sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes you do a good enough job that you don't need to use it. So then I did the apply image thing, and that is it for this graphic. Thanks for watching. Check out my Patreon, and we'll see you in the next one.